Welcome to the Clutch Time Podcast with your host, Daniel Kreider and Ryan Vargas. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Clutch Time Podcast. Here we go once again. It's been a while. Yeah. They're feeling us now, Ryan.
I love it, baby. Season 4.
Season 4. We thank you guys so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. We thank you guys so much for your support.
Hey, man, and truth is, it's been a while. So the people that are still listening to us, we really appreciate you.
Yeah. They're like, man, they just quit and stop.
Yeah, where they been?
No, just a lot of stuff going on. What has been new, Ryan? What you got?
Man, what has been new? A lot has definitely been new, man, for me personally and with work and everything.
For sure.
Work-wise, though, a lot of exciting things going on with Clutch Time Hoops. We're out of our old location, and we're about to be into a new location that's going to allow us to have a full court, something that we've been wanting a long time over there. So we're excited. We're about probably 3 weeks out from having it already, but definitely looking forward to that, man. And me personally, I'm good, dude. I got a little sick, but I'm healthy now, feeling better, back at it. How about you, dude?
I'm excited, man. Yeah, it's been the last, year and a half, as we've talked about before, it's just been a challenge, taking us out of our natural elements, so to speak. And but yeah, I'm excited to get back on the grind, man. And new facility, be fresh, be new. I'm ready for that. I'm ready to get this podcast rocking and rolling again.
Man, same.
Dude, I'm excited for this season more than any other season we've ever had. And I know everybody probably says that with the new season, but I'm seriously stoked about the season. We got some guests this season that are going to be exceptionally cool, to say the least, and I just like to mix it up. I know this season, everybody is going to be not just hoops. We're going to mix it up with everything. And I feel like the reason for that being is that all the stuff we normally, the stuff we hit on and talk about really is more a life principles and stuff too as well. So I'm excited about that part, man. I'm really excited. So with that being said, let's kick off the new season with a new subject.
I like it.
So let's get into the NCAA football season right now. This last week, Alabama squeaks by Florida, only wins by 2 points.
Alabama actually looked human.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't like super freak stuff.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites was the fact that DJ Graham had one of the most incredible interceptions I think I've ever seen. What's your thoughts on that?
That was insane. And somebody on SportsCenter or something was like, is that the interception of the year? And in my mind, I'm like, bro, that's the catch of the year. Like offense, defense, it doesn't matter. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was stoked when I seen that because just the way he grabbed it one-handed in the air. I was thinking it was going to be like trap it here or something, but dude just grabbed it, curled it, and just went down like it was normal routine. I was like, and he's straight laid out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Odell's, but like you said, the way he came down on the ground, like when Odell caught it, it was catch, and then kind of fell on his back. This guy like tucked and rolled, man, made it look good. I was like, wow, that's insane.
Dude, Oklahoma's a force.
Yeah.
And they beat Nebraska 23-16. I mean,
they're tough.
That's all good stuff. So the top 5 teams in college right now, I'm just going to go with 5, is Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma. Oregon is still in the mix, which they beat Ohio State, which was a big win for them. And really, they handled Ohio State.
They did. They won the battle in the trenches, man. And that's the cool thing about their coach now is, we all got so used to the Chip Kelly era, just kind of being fast and athletic, and by all means that's important. But with this coach, he's all about winning it in the trenches and like on the line. And a lot of people criticize him for his style because it's not necessarily as flashy as people are used to in Eugene.
Right.
But he just proved that, to beat those big schools. I mean, Oregon's line dominated Ohio State's line. Just dominated them, dude. And Oregon didn't do anything fancy. They literally ran it right up the middle over and over.
Yeah, it was crazy to see that. Like I was expecting a more super close, super tight knit game, but that was cool. I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely like it. Iowa coming in at number 5. Those are all rock solid teams, man. Georgia's having a great year. I mean, it's exciting to see, and more importantly, I'm really super stoked and excited about the fact that things slowly seem to be getting back to normal, and we're actually seeing actual seasons going forward and things like that. So that's super cool to see. And I'm super stoked the MLB is starting to heat up.
Yep.
And we are getting ready for this fight to play in October. And dude, Dodgers rock solid, Giants rock solid, Brewers rock solid. They all pretty much have a playoff spot locked up. While in the National League, you got the Cardinals, Reds, Phillies, and Padres are battling for a wild card spot, which will be fun. So the last 2 weeks, the last game this year is going to be October 3rd for these guys. Some it'll mean something, some it won't. American League will be the Red Sox, Yankees, Oakland, and Mariners are all battling, and it's going to be a fun season. The playoffs this year are going to be a lot of fun. There's been a lot of transitions, trades, and things. Phillies and Padres aren't out by any means. And the Reds as well. But I ain't.
So you're a baseball guy, so I got a question.
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna beat the Dodgers?
Oh Lord. We were talking about that before, and I feel like the Dodgers are like the Lakers, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they got so many pieces. And mainly, in the playoffs, a lot of times it's pitching that will win you ball games. I mean, you got to score too, but it's the pitching that usually, not all the time, but usually is the maker or breaker of everything. You got terrible pitching in the playoffs. It's the playoffs. You ain't gonna last very long,
Right.
But yeah, them Dodgers, man. Whew, it's crazy to see their pitching staff. And Yankees are probably the biggest letdown in the American League. And it's crazy because they're pretty stacked too, but man, they got throttled. I think it was today. I was catching up with the games and did not look good. So so we'll be talking more about that coming in October when the playoffs really start hitting. And it'll be fun to see the final race of who gets the final wild card spots and all that stuff. And we'll definitely keep up with that. And but yeah, I'm super stoked. My St. Louis Cardinals are getting hot at the right time. It looks like pitching, is pretty good. But their offense is definitely stepped up. So I'm hoping they go deep in the playoffs, but I mean, it's the playoffs. It's just like any other sport. Playoffs is like a whole nother season. You might as well stop the regular season. Okay, this is the real season,
Right.
So.
Playoff baseball is always fun, man. I've never really gotten super into baseball myself, but I do find myself come playoff time kind of always tuning in and watching those series. It gets pretty fun, dude.
Yeah.
But hey, just real quickly,
going
back to college football real quickly, I did want to say something because you mentioned the top you mentioned the top 5 at Bama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Iowa.
Yeah.
I do think a team to watch out for is Penn State. And they have wins over Auburn. They just beat Auburn, and they beat Wisconsin already as well.
Nice.
But then again, I was thinking about like, man, they're in the Big Ten. I was looking at their schedule coming up. I mean, they got to go to Iowa. They got to go to Ohio State. They play Michigan at home, and they got to go at Michigan State as well. So if they make it through that, they're definitely going to be a force and will most likely be in that college football playoff. And then I don't know, have you seen much of Fresno State this year?
I have not. I have not. I've had a hard time keeping up with some of the outside the mainstream
Right.
programs, and so I
Right.
have not. No, but I want to touch on something with Penn State real quick.
Yeah.
That's super cool to see because of all the crap they went through years ago.
Right.
It's so that's cool to see Penn State bounce back from that and really end up being a force.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
I don't
was
want to get
definitely
off your Fresno State topic.
no, you're
I just
good.
wanted to add that because that was a big deal back in the day.
I think that's a good point, and it says a lot about them and their school and their program to be back to where they are after climbing out of that hole, man.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
but yeah, Fresno State, dude. So obviously, we're not talking about a college football playoff team, but I definitely think that they're going to climb themselves into the ranking. No one really talks about them, and rightfully so. You know, it's Fresno State, but their first game of the year, um, they just smashed Connecticut 45-0.
Who?
Their second game of the year, they went to Autzen and lost to the Ducks by 7 by a touchdown. Then they went on to smack Cal Poly by 53 points. And then this past weekend, they went and beat an undefeated UCLA team 40-37.
Okay.
So Fresno State's sitting at 3-1 with a touchdown loss to Oregon and a big win over UCLA. And when I watched them play the Ducks, dude, you could tell you're like, damn, this team's tough. Their quarterback's good, man. And they were good on both ends of the ball. It was cool.
Nice, nice. No, I got to get up on my Fresno State game then, I guess. Yeah, I've been in and out with my own kids or my own kid playing football right
Yeah,
now.
no,
It
for
was a
sure.
new adventure for him, so it's been fun to watch that transpire though.
Shout
So
out to Jefferson, undefeated.
yeah, they're doing pretty well. Got some good talent on that team. We'll see what the future holds. They got some tough games coming up, and but it's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Very fun to watch. So what about the NFL? We're in their second week, so it's kind of hard to talk too much about a whole lot going on in the NFL. But what are your thoughts on the first 2 weeks?
I'll say week one, that Sunday night showdown with Tampa and Dallas, that was fun. That was fun seeing Dak Prescott and Tom Brady go back and forth. And, you know, the Bucks are going to be the Bucks. They got most of their team back. And they already were really good. So it's just exciting to see NFL back, man. Seeing Matthew Stafford be 2-0. You know, he came from Detroit where he struggled for a while, but now he's in Los Angeles playing with the Rams.
Yeah.
Start, you know, which well deserved, dude. That guy's a good player. Yeah, it's just been nice to see the NFL back up and rocking.
Yeah, I like, and I've always liked Stafford.
Yeah.
Even when he was in Detroit, and I felt like that was a tough draw for him.
Very.
Not that he didn't have anything, but one thing, and we'll talk more about this later on in the show, but that, a lot of people don't think about the systems that people have in place. Is it going to work for a certain player or is it not going to work for a certain player? And I think some guys, and I don't have anything in particular when I say this, but I feel like some guys just don't really get a fair shake,
Right.
And that's just part of sports, unfortunately, that you can't match up every player with every perfect system for that player. That's pretty much impossible. But nevertheless, I feel like some people get not as fair of a shake. Just so you know, Tampa Bay is only up by 3 against the Falcons right now, and it's the end of the third. I don't know why I just peeked that out. It was like, 'cause I was checking Tampa Bay, like, oh, okay.
Well, Tom Brady don't show up till the last minute anyway.
And it just, gosh, he's so good.
He is.
So good, man. Honestly, I don't think we're ever going to see a quarterback like that again, man.
No.
The diligence of how he takes care of his body, not just his body, but his mind.
Right.
Think about that. There's a lot of mental stuff that comes with that game too, and he just stays sharp. He just, I don't know if it's because, he's a Michigan guy, you know what I mean? Came into the league, wasn't like highly sought after or anything, and it's been cool to watch him, not only blossom, but then continue at the age he's at right now. And man, from the looks of things, dude, he could play another 5 years.
Well, and that's just it. He could have easily, well, retired after the Patriots, and
Right.
he would have been a legend for sure. But instead, he goes and takes on a new challenge. I mean, the dude was already 40 years old, I think, or
It's
close to it,
crazy.
and it's
So
like,
crazy.
went to a brand new franchise, a brand new city, a brand new coach, a brand new system, goes and freaking wins the Super Bowl his first year there,
Yeah.
then could have easily retired, right? And been like, all right, deuces, I'm out. I'm the GOAT. And here he is coming back for more. And I just respect that a ton because it just shows like he's not about the accolades, dude. Like he just genuinely loves to play football.
And it shows.
And it shows, man. And he's
Real
obviously
big
damn
time.
good at it too. But like
Yeah.
just the love for the game, dude. I mean, his body, he's got to be taking a toll on him, man, getting hit and stuff, even though he doesn't get
Oh,
hit very often. But still, I mean, he's got a rich wife who actually makes more money than him. He's very wealthy. Like he could easily be like, all right, I'm out of here,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, he
and
could have
he
years
doesn't do
ago,
it.
and like you said, it's cool because he just loves the game. So,
Right.
you know, that's just so awesome to see. And yeah, man, I don't know how you can't like that guy. I know there's some people that just hate him for whatever reason, but I'm like, how do you hate a guy that's so consistent and diligent with his game?
Right. Right. No kidding, dude. And I think maybe a sleeper team this year. I honestly don't know if they won today or not. So I might eat my words right away. But um Arizona, dude, with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, they're very fun to watch, dude.
They
And
got some pieces for sure.
on the defensive end as well, they definitely got some pieces. So they might
Actually,
make some noise.
right now they are 2 points behind the Vikings with 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So everybody's gonna know when we recorded this.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, no, it's and I always like that. I always like Murray as well, because he's not real tall or anything, but he's man, super athletic, dude. Like
Yeah.
he is just super athletic. Because if I remember right, he was also a pretty good baseball guy too.
I think
Um,
you're right. Yeah.
yeah, and he was pretty tough. So, and actually, he could have went either way, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, no, I agree. I like to see, these teams that don't have a bunch of superstars on it, but end up developing themselves and putting them in a position to actually win ball games.
Right.
So that tells me that they're working hard, they're doing their due diligence, they're watching film, they're all the necessary things to make a winning program a winning program. And
Right.
for me, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not the guy that I see a bunch of superstars loaded on one squad and it's like, oh, it's so great they won. I'm thinking, well, hell yeah, they should win. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Yeah.
mean, you got experience, you got, the on paper, the all-star caliber and all that stuff. It's more impressive to me to see these guys that work so hard against a squad like that and end up beating them and winning something,
Yeah.
so that's just me. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's just my take on it.
No, I agree for sure. And it seems like the winning recipe in the NFL is like spend your money on your line and your
Oh,
quarterback.
dude,
You know what I
so
mean? Like,
important.
I mean, look at the Cowboys. I mean, they just spent so much money on Zeke. And Zeke, I mean, he's a hell of an athlete, great running back, but you shouldn't pay running backs that much in the NFL because one, their lifespan is what, 4, maybe 5 years.
Maybe 5 years if you're lucky.
You know what I mean? If you have a good running back, but you don't invest in your line, I mean, are they really going to be a good running back and are they going to be healthy for very long? Look at Saquon Barkley in New York, dude. That guy's
Yeah.
a freak, but New York's line is terrible.
Yep.
So it's just interesting. You look at the Patriot way, dude. I mean, Tom Brady never had those kind of studs that he does in Tampa in New England. Granted, he had Randy Moss, one of the years or a couple of the years, but like it was always Tom, his line, and then these receivers that you had never really heard of before
Yeah.
and running back. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a interesting recipe, but the teams that do it seem to be pretty successful.
Yeah. I got to re-hit this again. That's my
Winding it back.
rewind. I want to wind it back, man, because I want to talk about somebody who I don't feel like I feel like he gets the respect a little bit in some circumstances, but who had absolutely no line at all and would turn absolutely nothing into something. And that's Barry Sanders that used to play for the Detroit Lions. Dude, you want to talk about one of the greatest running backs ever, in my opinion. I know some people say he quit too soon and what this, that, and the other, because everybody's like, well, Emmett Smith was down in Dallas. Well, Emmett Smith had a freaking line that was like no other. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not discrediting Emmett Smith either. Please don't misunderstand me on that. Emmett Smith was a heck of a tailback as well. But dude, Barry Sanders, you would watch the whole team come at him and he was just unreal, man. And I guess I said all that to say this is that that's when you get to look back, at least when you're a little older. I'm not going to say my age because I'm not that old. No, I'm just kidding. But Barry Sanders was something to watch. And dude, I'm telling you what, you want to talk about a killer. That guy was unreal.
And to any of our listeners who are younger, go YouTube Barry Sanders.
Please.
He was a freak. And it's funny talking about Detroit again. Like I was thinking about quarterbacks. Has there ever been a quarterback who just excelled in Detroit that you can think of off the top of your head?
No, not anybody off the top of my head. Not at all.
Same, dude. Or even, I mean, besides Barry Sanders, he shined, but there's just because of who he was, and his skill set. But
right,
man, Detroit, come on.
They've had a lot of different guys in there, man. And there again, dude, honestly, I think it comes down to systems,
It does. Yeah.
Whatever program they had, because Detroit, back in the 90s in particular, they were pretty much playoff bound every single season, and they just haven't been able to figure out their next, their next moves, I guess, and put something together. So I don't know. We're in week 2 of the NFL, and we'll see how the season transpires. I think you got some cool things. The Bears did win today. Seahawks are winning at the current. Man, the Cowboys and the Chargers are locked in the 4th.
Are they?
Just FYI, yeah. The Browns beat the Texans this week. The Rams beat the Colts by 3. Dude, what about the Ram, man? They're just coming out of nowhere again.
Yeah.
I say out of nowhere. They've been kind of pretty good for the last, but dude, the Bills 35-0 against the Dolphins. Good Lord.
Oh, and Tua went down. He got carted off today.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Patriots 1-1 this week, 25-6 against the Jets. Niners 17-11 against the Eagles. Raiders win again against the Steelers, 26-17.
2-0.
2-0. Panthers 26-7 over the Saints. By the way, the Steelers, I will say, my guy from P-Town, Illinois, Kendrick Green, is the center for them, and he's a beast, dude. It's
for Pittsburgh.
He got dry, but yeah, super happy for him. I actually know his mom. Super cool, great family. So yeah, anyway, kind of not to get off subject of the scores, but Broncos 23-13 against the Jaguars. And on Thursday night, the tight game with Washington beating New York Giants by 1. And did you see that game, by the way? Or have you seen the highlights or anything?
I did not watch that game.
You'll have to go back and review that because there was kind of a questionable call at the end there. So it's I'll leave it up to everybody to view that, give their own opinions of that. I'm not going to start hammering anybody over something like that. But
so it's early, but what's your take? Does Tom Brady repeat, or do we have a new Super Bowl champ this year?
And that's such a good question. I would say I will never go against Tom Brady, just because he's a leader and he's a damn good one at that. Whatever it takes, he seems to get his team motivated. And he seems to make that right play. You can never count him out. It's hard to go against him. I'm not saying nobody else in the league, because you still don't give up on Kansas City. Mahomes is still in the mix, and there's some other teams that are hanging around and lurking. And I won't say I could probably fairly get a good grip, because as NFL, as you know, it's more about who gets injuries, how they overcome it, how they manage it, things like that. So will I doubt Tom Brady win another one? I'll tell you what, if he wins another one, there's no way that anybody can dispute him being the greatest quarterback of all time, if they even can now. How do you go to a new team completely in the very first year you're there, you win the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't think some football guys understand it, but I don't think most fans realize how super rare and unusual that this is.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, even go back to Joe Montana days. Joe Montana left and nobody even really knew who Montana was anymore. You know what I mean? And,
Yep.
of course, it's different scenarios. I'm not saying Joe Montana, he was a heck of a quarterback too, but something special about Tom Brady, man. And you can't take that away from him, bro.
I don't know how you could say that he's not the greatest quarterback
Yeah.
or
I mean, it's not even close
ever.
in my eyes, but
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Love him or hate him, the guy is the greatest we've ever seen. That's my take on it. And you can agree to disagree, whatever.
He's a
We're all
winner.
good. Hey, everybody's open to their opinion. It depends on who you're talking to in this day and age.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, all right. Well, moving on. Let's get to the NBA, man. I know we're not playing right now, but I guess they are preseason stuff, but man, the off season this year was kind of wild, dude. Number one, the Lakers. My gosh, man. They make moves and acquire Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, DeAndre Jordan. They got Trevor Ariza, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Kendrick Nunn, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That is, I don't know. I mean, is it championship or bust for them? It's got to be.
You just put that perfectly. You said that is, I don't know. That's exactly how I feel. I look at that list, I'm like, damn. And then
I
I look at
mean,
that list, I'm like, what are they doing? I can't figure out if they just made great moves or not. I mean, they got a bunch of pieces. Um, Carmelo's gonna be Carmelo. I mean, shout out to him. He was in Portland for a while. That was fun. Does he take your team from, not championship to championship? No, not at this point in his
right.
career. You got Russ, how him and LeBron mix, because I mean, who's going to bring the ball up the court majority of the time?
It's got to
Is it
be rough.
Russ? Is
It's
it
got to
Russ?
be.
Is Braun going to give that ball up? We haven't really seen it yet. Uh, DeAndre, I mean, he's a big body. It's whatever there. I think Ariza's a good pickup, definitely on the defensive end, for sure. I mean, but they're just in basketball years, bro. They're just old.
I don't, man, see, I agree with that. Yes, they are old. So I think the number one thing that they'll be battling this year is simply injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries and how they take care of their body. But man, what I'm getting at as far as, okay, so big guys, right? You got Anthony Davis, of course, is your number one. You got Dwight Howard coming behind him, not like superstar or nothing like that, but man, I mean, that's your sub. And then you got DeAndre Jordan if you don't have him. I mean, yeah, it's almost like they kind of prepared for it, and something happens to Rush, you got Rajon Rondo coming in. That's kind of the perspective I was looking at it. So it's almost like they knew we're going to be old, so let's kind of prepare for it. And the other thing is, I it's not that I don't like it. It's more like, Russell Westbrook, this is your one shot, bro. This is your one shot to get a ship. So are their roles going to change is where I'm going with this. They have to. You're going to have to. You're going to have to adjust your roles. You're going to have to get a feel for who's hot what night and get them the ball. So that's going to be the biggest challenge, is learning how to make that dramatic shift. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and dealing with injuries, it's, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be fun. Melo, it's his one shot to get a ship. If he don't get a ship with this team, because and it's not like there ain't no other teams out there. Phoenix is not going anywhere.
No, bro.
And they're not going anywhere. And they're young.
They're not going anywhere. They're young, dude. I look at this Laker roster, bro. I'm trying to find shooters, and I just don't really see any. I mean, Melo could park it in the corner and shoot a three, but I'm looking at this roster. I'm like, damn, like, who's Braun gonna dish to? Who's Rondo to get dished into? Who's what? I mean, we know Westbrook ain't gonna pull. I mean, he's gonna pull, but he ain't gonna make a lot of them.
That's gonna be their challenge.
They don't have any shooters, dude. And Anthony Davis, great player, made a glass. So let's be honest. I mean, the dude just gets hurt all the time. So if he's not in, and it's just Braun and a bunch of just people who used to be. I mean, I don't know. I hate to say used to be, but you talk in basketball terms, like you said. You look at Phoenix. I mean, Chris Paul, he's old, but he don't play old.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, he's tough, and like he battles injuries as well. So it's going to be a matter of him staying healthy. But his squad, dude, DeAndre Ayton, you got freaking, oh my God, Devin Booker.
That's what I was going to say. You better bring Book up. That's I love him, dude. I think that guy's unreal.
He is, man, and they're only getting better. And so it's like, I don't know. I think I think the Lakers know it's now or never. I mean, it's now or never for them, for a lot of those players too. And yeah, they won the bubble tournament, but at the end of the day, like, what have they done since? And I don't know.
My thing is this: I don't see a lot of people talking about this, right? But the Brooklyn Nets acquired Paul Millsap.
He's tough.
That's a huge piece for them, and I don't think he gets the respect he deserves.
Never has.
On how good he is. And if he fits in, you got KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Paul Millsap, and you still got Blake Griffin there.
Didn't Marcus go back?
Yeah, he's there. You're correct.
Which we'll see what that means, but I mean, like, that's just crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I'll leave that one alone. I'll be nice today. Today's Sunday. I'm gonna be nice.
I already know what you're gonna say. He's soft.
I already know. I was gonna say it. I can't help it, man. But just
he is soft.
He just don't got it, bro. Like, as far as what it takes to be in the league. My other question is, will Milwaukee repeat?
I don't think so.
I think it's gonna be a tall order this year. I just do.
I mean, bro, it's going to be a very tall order. I think they got one, but I mean, no disrespect to Milwaukee, but again, it's so hard because of injuries. But dude, who's going to beat Brooklyn if they go through a full season and they got everybody? Let's be honest, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the LA Dodgers of the NBA right there.
It really is. It's that's crazy. It's I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to find a way to kind of counteract something, but I don't. What about Ben Simmons, man? What are you thinking of that whole situation?
I kind of have an unpopular opinion on Ben Simmons. It was funny. I made a comment on Instagram the other day on some sports account because they had said, like, Shaq basically told Ben Simmons that if he wants to be good, he needs to put in the work, blah, 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 blah. And I just kind of like, it was funny to me because Shaq, no disrespect, he's one of the most dominant players to ever play the game. I'm just going to say that. We all know that. But Shaq's biggest criticism was he didn't put in the extra work, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that was what Kobe always said about Shaq. He's like, man, if Shaq would have been in the gym, I'd have 12 rings right now.
Yeah.
Right. So I just kind of thought it was funny. But my opinion on Ben Simmons, dude, obviously his shot is broke, like beyond broke. Yeah. So broke. And he was absolutely terrible in the playoffs. You could tell his confidence was gone. Like, he was passing up lay-ins.
Yeah.
I think he's a 24-year-old, two-time All-Star, two-time All-Defensive NBA player who's 6'10", who has elite passing ability, in my opinion. I think he sees the floor very well. He has a lot to work on, don't get me wrong, but I feel like in the right situation, I think he needs to get out of Philly, but I think he adds a lot of value to a team. No doubt about it. I'm not a big Ben Simmons fan by any means.
Right.
And it's frustrating watching him play because it's like, dude, I would rather just see you shoot and miss than just not shoot the ball. You know what I mean? Like, just shoot the ball. And like, I think that's what a lot of people are getting fed up with him because, I mean, he was a top pick. He's gotten paid top money. And it's like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these older players, they any chance they could get to kind of take a shot at these new players, they take it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'm just like, bro, he's a kid still. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna come. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I think that there's a lot of upside for Ben Simmons still. I mean, just his size alone. He's
Right.
an elite defensive player and he's 6'10", and that's just kind of where I'm at. Like you were talking about with football, like it's got to be the right system, the right fit. And I think there is a right fit for him. I just don't think he's found it yet.
Well, I think a lot of it. So I'm going to revert to Charles Barkley and a Shaq interview that I seen. They were talking about Ben Simmons, and they simply just flat out said he's just not that good, you know. And I never heard him say he didn't put in work, but at least in this particular interview anyway. But
Right.
it was but they Charles Barkley, I think, was the one that brought up a stat that in the playoffs in the fourth quarter, Simmons did not take one shot, you know, and their dispute and their point was you're getting paid a lot of money, dude. And
Right.
you know, it's if you're going to be a killer and a good player in this league, you got to take those. You got to take that fourth quarter is yours basically. And so I agree with it on that aspect. But there again, like you said, he's still, you know, he's still pretty much a kid, you know, and I'm not saying he don't have any talent. I'm just saying that I think it's going to be a challenge for him no matter what he does. I think the way you carry yourself and things you say and do can come back and haunt you as a player, and some people never recover from that.
Right.
So I guess, you know, there's a lot more to it than just basketball in a lot of senses, you know. So I don't know. I mean, can he be good? I think every player, especially if you're in the league, you got your shot right there. You know, you should, you know, that's your shot. You know, you got
Yeah.
to make it happen. So what I'm getting at is if he does end up getting traded and go to another situation, he better make damn certain that it's a good fit and that that system will work for him or it's going to take him out.
Well, I just don't really understand the issue with Ben because I mean, you watch him during open runs, which is different. Don't get me wrong, during trainings, and he's shooting the ball. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like he's pulling up from deep, and he'll make some of them, at least the ones that I see. And then I just don't understand the mentality of like, I mean, he's just so afraid to shoot the ball in a game, and it's just almost kind of weird. You're like, what is going on here? Because aside from that, the kid has everything you'd want.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you
There's
can't
no
coach
excuse
6'10".
for it. I
You
mean,
know,
my God, he's got, like you said, the tools. The tools are there. It's just the execution that needs to happen.
and like talking to D Will yesterday when we were talking with him, you know, I mean, today's day and age more than ever, like you got to be able to shoot the basketball
Yeah. Yeah, that's
at
true.
every position. You know, you got to
Right.
be able to shoot the basketball. And like going back to Shaq, like yeah, Shaq couldn't shoot a free throw, but like he was able to get away with it, you know, because of his size and his
Well, yeah.
dominance, you know, and he played at the block, you know what I mean? And like if Shaq could shoot a free throw, would that have made him that much better? Well, yeah, the dude was at the free throw line all freaking game. You know what I mean? But it's
Yes,
like,
he was.
but he was able to combat that with his size and just his overall dominance. And you can only foul him so much before you start fouling out of the game,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But come playoff time and that going back to the Lakers, dude, like that's the way people defend Ben Simmons in the playoffs is how I see them defending the Lakers in the playoffs. I mean, I'm sagging off of Rondo, I'm sagging off of Westbrook. You know what I mean? Like makes
Yeah, it
makes them
seems like
shoot
you
the
got a
ball
lot of isolation players in that. So
a lot. Yeah.
if you got a good defensive team, they're going to expose that, you know. But like I said, you know, it I mean, these guys are pros. If we'll see what they're all about, because I will say this about Russ is that when he went to Washington, he impressed me, and I think I said it on our last season podcast or the season before that. I don't remember, but how he was able to adjust his role, according to what the pieces that he already had, So like Bradley Beal, was killing it, and so it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. And I don't know. And like you said, it may work, but I mean, yeah, you still got Kawhi and PG over in the Clippers too. I mean, they're not going away easy. I mean, yeah, that's been a big letdown so far, but
Right.
I,
This is what frustrates me about Russ. You look at Russ's running mates, the people that dude has played with,
he's
other players would absolutely
killer.
die to play with. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
We're talking about Paul George.
Yeah.
We're talking about Bradley Beal. And
Yeah.
now we're talking about LeBron James.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like Dame Lillard's over here like, bro, give me one of those guys and watch what I do with it.
Yeah, give me just one. I
Just give me one.
just give me one. And yeah, he's making me nervous. We'll see what he ends up deciding too as well. But yeah, Portland got Beasley back. I don't, they added some pieces a little bit, kind of, maybe. I
Dame's
don't know.
gone, bro. Dame is gone by the trade deadline.
I mean, God, can you blame him?
No,
I mean,
not
I
at all.
can't. I can't. I won't be mad at him. He stuck it out for as many years as he did. In May, still, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I
It's
would be
crazy
shocked to see if he don't go anywhere.
how many Portland Trailblazer fans are like, Dame, just leave. Like,
Yeah.
we get it, dude. You know what I mean? Like, here's our franchise player, and everyone's like, bro, go, just go. Like, we get it. Like,
And
Portland's
no
done you
love
wrong.
lost. No
No
love
love
lost.
lost at all. You know, it's sad. And it goes back to last season, Danny. And I don't know if you remember this episode when James Harden was on the market.
Yeah.
And there was talks about Portland putting a package together, getting rid of a lot for, including CJ and some other guys to try to go after Harden. And a lot of people were like, whoa, 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 that's too much. That's too much. And it was like, well, what is Portland's goal here?
Right.
Are you guys trying to like win a championship, or are you just trying to
Agreed.
like fill the seats and make it to the playoffs? Because it seems like in Portland, whenever it's time to go all in on like someone who could potentially bring you a championship or get you to the finals, they're always kind of hesitant with it, dude.
Right.
Always. Like, you're telling me that Harden and Dame couldn't make noise and do something special, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think that's what Dame is kind of sick of,
Yeah.
because lately, especially this past offseason, he's given a lot of signs like, yeah, I'm in Portland for now, or I'm not going anywhere for now, or, Portland, like, I want you to get me help. And you look at who they added this offseason, you're like, I look at their roster, I'm like, bro, he is
Yeah.
gone, and good for him. Good riddance.
I would think so. Where do you think he goes if he leaves?
That's a great question. I honestly, so it's gonna have to be a team that has enough to make Portland, do the trade. But I was looking at rosters, and the team that I think Dame is gonna go to if he leaves is the Miami Heat.
I was gonna say the Heat. Okay, that's great. That's scary then,
They
because
have so many weapons on their roster that they could afford to send 2-3 studs to Portland for Dame and keep Bam and keep Jimmy Butler and put
Right.
Damian Lillard with them. And
Gosh. I'll tell you what, if it happens, look out. That's going to be another team in the mix.
No
I
kidding,
don't
dude.
care what anybody says.
Front runner.
I mean, are they able to hang on to Hero?
That's a good question. I imagine Hero would probably have to leave.
I would think so too. That's why.
And Lowry. It'd probably be Hero and Lowry and maybe some draft picks or something. But I think
Lowry for sure, because you're just going to have a conflict of interest,
Right.
but they got Oladipo too. Does he stay?
I don't know. Potentially, they got a lot, dude. Look at their roster.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking like, dang, they got some pieces on here that, you still got Udonis Haslam still in the mix. Bio, Butler. Man,
Yeah.
that could get interesting. You're right. There's definitely there's enough there to make it work, to make it happen.
There is, because I was thinking about what team he would go to. He's obviously going to go to a contender, or else he would just stay in
Oh
Portland.
yeah, he would just
You know what I mean? And I was like, well, what about Boston? Well, no, Boston doesn't have. They'd have to get rid of Tatum to get Dame, and they wouldn't do that. You
no,
know,
they ain't
it
doing
was like nothing really made sense. And then I looked at Miami. I'm like, whoa, this could really happen. And he would fit that culture so well.
Oh, he would for sure. South Beach. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna hurt his feelings.
No, he wouldn't be mad.
I know because some people were saying he was gonna try to go home, which would put him at Golden State. And I just don't see that happening. I
I
mean,
don't either.
I don't see that working at all. I mean, it would work, I think, but yeah, no, I take that back. It would work. I mean, you'd have to get rid of some because you're gonna have Clay coming back. You got
Yeah.
Steph. I mean, I just don't know. And they're not going to get rid of either one of them guys. I mean,
Nah.
it ain't going to matter. I mean, heck, they kept Clay and paid him this whole time to, for this injury. I mean, I know some people were talking the Knicks. I can't see him making a move to the Knicks.
Well, I thought about the Knicks. I'm like, maybe he'd go to New York, but it's like, bro, for one, they don't even have much to trade for him.
That's what I was
And
just looking at. Like, damn, they ain't got. They're
and if
hurt.
they did trade for him, by the time he got there, they wouldn't have anything. I'm like, well, he doesn't want to go to that.
I mean, Derrick Rose had a heck of a season this last year. He's there.
Legend.
He is definitely a legend. You got Kemba Walker, McBride's still there. Taj Gibson,
You got RJ.
RJ Fournier. Debate, yeah. I mean, of course, Julius Randle. Gosh, how could you miss him? He's a beast. But yeah, other than that, dude, there's not really a whole lot shaking in the Big Apple.
Yeah. Then again, it's Portland, dude. I could see them like sending him off for nothing. It's you know what I mean. So who knows,
true.
dude?
Yeah. No. Good point. Good point. Yeah. So, all right. So moving on. So that's gonna be a fun season either way, though. Let's get into college, man. What's your thoughts on this? I found a way too early college top 10, and it was kind of interesting. It was Gonzaga #1 again, UCLA #2, Purdue #3, Ohio State #4, Kansas 5, Maryland a 6, Villanova a 7, Alabama at the 8. There's that roll tide again. Florida State at 9, and Virginia Tech. What's
That's
your
an early
thoughts on
poll
that?
right there.
That's a super early poll, but what's a team, and just curious, that any team out of that top 10 that really sticks out to you?
Well, I'll tell you a team that I'm surprised it's not on it is Baylor.
Right.
They've kind of been up in that top 10 for a while, but I mean Gonzaga's back at the top there. They can only be at the top for so long before they finally get one.
Yeah, no kidding.
They've been knocking at the door for years, dude.
Yeah.
You can see Kansas is kind of restocked as we knew they would back up
Right.
there, but Alabama. When you think of Alabama, you think of football.
Yeah.
To sort of see them
Crazy
cracking
to
the
see
top
them
10
on.
in the preseason, that's pretty cool. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. A team that sticks out to me, and me and Dave were talking about this on our Zoom call yesterday, was Florida State. Florida State is tough, man, and their coach, he's just unreal, man. He's always in the mix. But that's probably one of the teams that stick out to me in this. They are a team that could really creep up on you and shy. I think they're going to be really good. Ohio State is going to be good. I agree with that a little bit. Maybe not 4, but I definitely agree with that. One that shocked me that I just didn't know a lot about was Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
I think Illinois is going to be good. I know they're going to be good this year. You got, I got to say LSU just because Adam's down there and he looks absolutely amazing right now. Adam Miller is going to be down there with Shaq's son. And it's not just them. They got pieces coming back that are going to be, honestly, this college season, I think this year is going to be possibly one of the best years I've ever seen in college basketball. Possibly. I'm just saying it's, because we always have that on paper, and then
Right.
what actually happens, we'll see.
Right.
The transfer portal definitely played a ton in this. There was a lot of pieces that shifted big time. I mean, I don't know. I try to figure out, was I a fan of it or was I not? I can't really pinpoint it myself, so but yeah, I would say in this particular group of teams, I would say that Florida State is one that sticks out to me big time.
Yeah. I mean, you got no Duke, no North Carolina,
No,
no
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Kentucky did get a couple really good. They got some really good recruits in this year.
It's
Really good
good
recruit.
seeing some new teams up in that mix. And I think that's something that you hit on a while back was I think we're gonna start seeing more of a balanced playing field
Yeah, I think so.
in college basketball. And so yeah, that'll be fun, man. But shoot, Gonzaga. We'll see.
They
We'll
just hover
see.
around there. It's they got Chet Holmgren, the number one recruit, 5-star recruit. They were excited about that. They did they did lose. Well, they used him too, but did use Jalen Suggs. They lost
Yeah.
him. Um, Timmy's still back. Um,
And they get a lot of 4-year players,
yeah,
3, 4-year players, and that's what makes
yeah,
them tough is they get people that stick around there.
yeah. It'll be fun to see what happens this year. I'm excited about the this year's college basketball, as I said before, and I guess we'll just see what happens.
Dude, and just sports in general, man. Seeing people
Just
back in the
seeing
stands
them
and
playing, yeah, it's super
it just
excited.
feels
As
good.
long as they don't get stupid and quirky, like God knows, I don't even want to. I don't even
Jeez,
gonna
no
speak it.
kidding.
I'm just gonna let it go from here. Hell, I'll end up going and seeing a counselor. I'll need a month for mental health.
Yeah, same.
um, so Ryan, I wanted to talk to you about something, and that is adding value to a team. What in your opinion, what does that look like? Because we talked about the NFL, we've talked about college basketball, we've talked about the NBA. Um, at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, is if you don't add value to a team, then you're just existing. You're not excelling. You're almost stagnant in a way,
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
when you're adding value to a team, you know, what in your opinion does that look like?
Well, I think that's what makes sports so fun to be a part of is the fact that there's so many ways to add value to a team.
I agree.
In any type of sport that we talk about, and you know, in my opinion, I always feel like your best player has to be your hardest worker.
Mhm.
Period. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? And like, you don't want that kid that's the most talented kid, but that doesn't work. I mean that's lazy. You know, what I mean
Right.
that I feel like that's just always a ticking time bomb, and especially if you're trying to implement a hardworking culture. You need the player on your team that everyone naturally looks up
Right.
to be the one kind of leading in that area. But as far as adding value to a team, man, there's so many ways. I mean, like if you're not the most talented kid, I think that players should always have that real conversation with themselves and be like, because in high school, you might have added value to the team by being the leading scorer,
Right.
and then like say you went on to play in college and now you're like, shoot, like I'm not even the top 3 leading scorer here. How
Right.
can I add value here? And there's always new ways, whether that's just being loud on the bench, standing up when people come out, giving them high fives,
Right.
whether that's the guy who's just always talking on defense, over communicating,
Right.
whether that's the guy that's just encouraging people, helping people out. There's just so many different ways to add value. And like you said, what you don't want to do is just get stuck thinking that, oh, I'm not the leading scorer, so I don't bring anything to the team, because that's when you don't actually end up on a team for very long. Because as a coach, I know you're always looking for those players who find their own little niche.
Right.
Because you're only going to get so many leading scorers or leading whatever. That's not what it's all about. I mean, these are team sports, and there's plenty of different ways to add value. But I think that as a player, that's your job to figure out what do you bring to the team.
I couldn't agree more. I think, even changing your role in the process, like you said, being what is it? Okay, well, we got so and so, and he's scoring 30 to 35 a night. So I don't really have to score a lot. But man, you know what? I'm going to be the best defender on this floor every night,
Right.
and I'm going to shut down. I'm going straight at their best guy every time, and, of course, what we were saying is different scenarios call for different things. And that's a huge part of so many processes in all sports, and, you know, I guess one of the big things is, people complain and get, all upset and stuff about, playing time or this and that. Okay. Well, have you had the discussion with your coach, which, honestly, I think some players, you shouldn't have to have that discussion. You should know, in my opinion, what it is you need to do. It's just a matter of, I could see you going and asking coach, hey, coach, can I, get in and play defense on this guy, and show some ambition toward really adding that value we were talking about in the beginning to help your team win. Because at the end of the day, it's really about helping a team win, you know, and I think so many teams end up not even being close to where they should be because you got five scorers that are trying to get 30 every night. Well, if
Yeah.
you get 30 every night, all five of y'all, that's 150 points. I don't see that going down too often. But let's say if you score 150 points, but the other team scores 145, did you really accomplish anything? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys
Right.
look good on paper, but so I guess what I'm getting at is, look at your pieces or look who's hot on what night. You know what I mean? And those roles could change even game to game, or season to season, whatever that looks like. But I just feel like that's an important topic that we don't have enough discussion around.
Yeah.
And guys out there, especially when it comes to recruiting and stuff for college, and we're going to be talking a lot about that this season, is coaches and scouts aren't always concerned about your end of the night points. They're just not. It's never been about that. Yeah, there's highly recruited guys that are scoring, 30, 40 points and then shutting down. And the guy, they're looking at, okay, who did he guard that night? Well, if the guy he guarded had 35 points, then guess what? There wasn't a whole lot of defense happening there. And this is at a high school level. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then they go in and evaluate this and figure out, okay, well, he can score. He ain't going to stop nobody, but, we could work on the defense maybe or something. So those are the risks that everybody has to analyze, and yeah, that's just my outtake on it, on that. And
No, that's good, dude. A quote I heard a while back was the greatest skill a player can have is their ability to help their team win.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
when I
it
heard
looks
that, I
so
was like,
different.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see. And we've had this conversation before, and I'm just putting it on the podcast, and I probably have already talked about it on the podcast before, but we've this generation and these kids coming up, they are so, I kind of want to say spoiled, but then not really, kind of, but everything is so right now. It's, the phone is, I just right now, right now, right now, right now, video games, XXY, boom, I can score every time. It's a combination of all those together, but kids need to work. And one good thing, and gosh, I don't want to spoil our next week because Dave's going to be coming on next week, but there are some things that you gather from people like that, and
Yeah.
one thing, he just was talking about how, sometimes the kids don't know they're not working hard, so he films every workout, you know, um, and if he says he's working hard, then he could turn around. One thing that we've always said is that video will never lie.
Right.
The video will never, ever, ever lie. And he gave us an example of, kid thought he was actually grinding and working hard. And then he showed him the video and thought, whoa, was I really moving that slow? You know, um, and at the end of every workout, man, you should be just completely gassed, you know. And I've talked about it in our practices before, but nothing drives me more nuts when we would have a practice and I'm looking and I'm yelling at him like, man, you just ain't working. You have to work. You have to go at it. And then they'd be like, oh, coach, I'm so tired. I'm so da. And then we would end practice and they would be over here goofing around playing one-on-one and stuff. I'm sorry, but if you walk out of after a practice, a workout, whatever, and you're ready to go at it hard again, and you're not gassed and hurting, I'm sorry, but if you give me one moment where you just looked like you're just, getting an award for best actor of the year award, because I'm so tired, and then we stop, and then you grab a ball and you're, juking, jiving, going to the basket, playing one-on-one, you ain't working hard enough.
Well, how many times have you seen those players who they got to sit out for 10, 15 minutes because they're hurt, right? They're
Right.
hurt.
Oh God, I know where you're going with this. Jeez.
And you would think like their leg was falling off, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then whistle blows, last 10 minutes, 15 minutes to practice, and it's time to scrimmage. Then all of a sudden, Lord Jesus has just healed that leg,
Oh,
and
hallelujah.
they are good to go now. Like
Mhm.
they were never hurt now that it's scrimmage time. And you just see that as a coach, you're like, damn, like that. I don't know, like that stuff drives me nuts, dude. And a really cool video of James Harden has kind of been going viral, and the one I showed you the other day, when
Oh yeah, that's so good.
he's at this gym, and I don't really know what he was doing with those kids, if he had just happened to be there or whatnot. But this whole team came and surrounded him after their practice at this gym he was at, and I I, I think they were kind of expecting like words of encouragement or like praises, like, hey, you guys just had a great practice. I was watching you guys, but it was the exact opposite, and it was super cool because I feel like it was what a lot of players needed to hear. And the basic overall theme of what he said was, you guys just worked out for an hour and a half, and some of you ain't even sweating.
Mm,
He says, anytime I work out, he says, I am drenched in sweat, just drenched in sweat. He's like, the way you guys were going through the motions of your drills, he's like, none of it was game speed.
yeah.
He's like, everything you do should be game speed. And it's just so funny because, I mean, it's what we talk about. And you see those elite athletes like a James Harden, who's one of the best in the world at what he does.
Right.
And it's because he doesn't go through the motions, and he doesn't take for granted time on the court. And I know for me, like with training, I've put in one kid through workout, and then the next hour put another kid through a similar workout, and one kid was drenched and one kid wasn't even sweaty at all.
Right.
And it's just all about their mentality. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it ain't even about the workout. It's about the work ethic.
Right.
Like, how much work do you want to put in? And going back to adding value, dude, that's what's so cool about sports, is how much they correlate to life, right? You want to get playing time, you want to be a part of your team. Well, then you better add value to your team, like straight up.
Right.
You grow up, you get a job, you want to climb the ladder at your job or get a raise. Well, what gets you a raise? What gets you a promotion? You have to add value to your job. You know,
Absolutely.
you want to be a business owner and you want to thrive and you want to survive. Well, how do you do that? You have to add value to the marketplace. You know
Mm,
what I mean? It's like you can't
sure.
just think that because you were there, you're going to be rewarded. And I think that's what's so cool about sports, is like it helps prepare these kids for what life is like. You got to add value in whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is the thing that I see more times than not, that those very same kids that are doing that kind of thing, um, they end up being a cancer And because the first time things go wrong in a game, for instance, and that's usually the same player that posts the blame on everybody else, which is another big, major pet peeve of mine, is that when, it's one thing when I say to communicate and talk, that don't mean to tear your teammates down, or, you know, try to put yourself up here above everybody else. And well, I'm doing my thing, you ain't doing yours, kind of thing. If I see that, I, I'm like, man, this is it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, because at this point, I don't have the time nor the patience, nor do I want to even try to work with you on anything, because you're a crappy person, not only a crappy teammate, but you're a crappy person. And that's something you need to fix within yourself. Now, I'm not saying I don't give anybody a chance. I'll have that conversation with you one time. And after that, I'm done, you know, and your mom or dad or whoever can come up and say whatever. And I don't care. I don't care. I'm done. Go fix you first, and then you can learn to help everybody else. But I'm never going to let a cancer ruin everybody else's opportunity that are working hard and are trying to stay positive and doing things, and we've came across that situation before, and dealt with it, and gave the person a chance. And hey, for the most part, they fixed it, and that was it, but if that would have happened again, it would have just been like, no, you're done. Bye. See ya. I just don't got time for it. This ain't the Boys and Girls Club Rec League. Everybody's welcome there. And I'm not knocking that either, because that's super needed in our communities as well. But everybody has their calling per se, and that's just not per se my thing. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so it's really, there's more to it than just adding value as far as a player. And what I mean by that, as far as your skill level,
Right.
it's the mentality of it. It's you know can you adjust your role? Are you kind of a little bitter and salty because Reggie over here scored 40 points and you had 8? Well, he wasn't passing the ball. Dude, if that's your mentality right there, then you might make it through high school, but doubtful. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you're gonna struggle until you fix that. But like you said, the only person that can fix that stuff is them.
It is. It is. And if you are struggling with that, then I would highly encourage you. This ain't just a plug just for us, but go back over some of our previous episodes when we were really getting into fixing you in the Mind Series stuff, because this is the thing, Ryan, and this is one thing that bothers me about all sports. This ain't bass. This ain't, one particular sport related, but is that there's so much more to it that most people miss 90% of the preparation of it. You got to prepare mentally. You got to prepare physically. You got to get your mind right. You got to get your heart right. You got to make sure you're encouraging your teammates, and it should be, because there is nothing worse than when you're having just a crappy game and your teammate comes up ragging on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already know that it's just not a good day. you know, how much different would that look if you came up and said, "Hey, look, man, hey, I know you're struggling right now. It's all good. I know who you truly are. I know what player you are. Come on, man, you got to go with me. Let's pick it up. Let's just get it. Let's go." As opposed to, "Come on, man, you got to do better than that. You got to stop him," or whatever that looks like. And I mean, you and I have been doing this a little while now. you know, how many
Right.
times have we seen the latter more than the former?
Yeah.
And
Too much.
so yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Ryan, how do you think you recognize a player, for instance, that you can build a system and a team around?
I mean, for me, it's always work ethic, man.
Agreed.
Like, especially
I
where
did that.
just from the few years that I've been doing this, man, because I still look at myself as new to coaching, training, all this stuff. I mean, it's so hard to coach work ethic, dude.
Yes, it is.
Like the skill side of it, I mean, yeah, that stuff that we're here to help with. But man, if you just don't work hard, I mean, I get it. There's always those special coaches who could bring it out of you and stuff. But like at the end of the day, man, if you're waiting on a coach to bring it out of you, like, what are you waiting on? Like that's on you. You know what I mean? If you're gonna show up, especially to a training facility or practice and just go through the motions, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why don't you just stick with your Xbox or your PS5, man? I mean, you're working just as hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No
that
doubt.
that's just kind of where I'm at. Like work ethic is so just priceless.
Yeah.
Priceless, dude. And give me a kid that's way less talented but works his butt off, and I'll take him any day, dude, because that's the culture you want to build. You want people to come in there and know, like, it's time to work.
Yeah.
It's time to work.
Well, you said something key there. It's a culture. You build the culture, and it's not just you. That's what's so cool about sports. It's a team. The coach ain't responsible for all that. They play a part in it, but they're not responsible for that.
Right.
And that's when the one thing that I see too is that a lot of teams lack the leaders, that are willing to say, hey, come on, let's get this. Come on, man, you're better than that. Pick it up. Come on, you're being lazy tonight, whatever that looks like. Because nowadays you got to kind of be mindful of who you're talking to and how sensitive they are too. You know what I mean? And not that you got to dance around the softies or anything, but and I'm not saying they're all soft, but it's a little different culture in nowadays terms, and
Sure.
that's why some players don't fit in some systems, because some systems are just a little more old school, a little more hardcore, and you just ain't gonna just walk in there and, oh, coach, I just don't feel very good today. You get to college and them guys are getting paid a lot of money to make sure this team is good, and you pull that, you ain't gonna be around long, so yeah, so that's my outtake on that. And I always say, when you walk away from everything, what you got to ask yourself, and you got to analyze yourself, and some players need to do it every practice, is how did I add value to my team today? What did I do to help our team today? Or what did I do that really was the opposite of that? What did I do to tear our team down today? And then be that leader, and we'll go into that next practice and say, hey, y'all, that last practice, I was really negative and I really wasn't on my game, and I apologize, but hey, we're going to get it this week. That's a leader. It's not that you can't never be wrong or you can't ever mess up. It's that you just lead, you make it look like how it's supposed to look when you mess up. You're going to mess up. That's just, we're all human. It's going to happen. But how you bounce back from it, how you encourage your teammates, like, hey, come on, let's get it. You know what? That last practice was on me. That's my bad. I was a bad teammate. This practice is going to be different. Here we go. Let's get it,
Right.
and really motivate a team to go into that next practice. And that's my take on it. And we're, like I said, we're going to touch more on it. And, the recruiting side of it as well is, this is part of the recruiting conversation, whether kids want to believe it or not. This is part of the recruiting conversation. These are questions recruiters are going to ask, and we're going to possibly have some recruiters on this season, and you're going to really see what that looks like and what things they're looking for. And you'd be surprised how much of it is not focused on your game. So it's a whole complete package.
Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. You know what that means. Oh, yeah. Episode 1 is coming to an end.
What a time. We're back, bro.
Hey, we're going to be back from now. Hey, please like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We're going to be on every week now. We got some power-packed episodes coming up for y'all this season.
Hey, and follow us on social media this round too. We're on Instagram,
Yes.
TikTok, Facebook, and like he said, YouTube as well.
Yeah. And reach out to us. Tell us what you want us to talk about. What are some subjects, whether you're a coach, a parent, whatever. We open that avenue up to anybody. Hit us up on social media. whatever that looks like, YouTube, any of those channels, just leave us a message. Let us know. We thank y'all for listening. We know this one went, a little long, not too bad, but a little long. But we're looking forward to this season. God bless y'all. We love you. Peace.